Today we're gonna make a one-pot breakfast hash that comes together super quickly, and it's really versatile, so it's great for using up a lot of your leftover vegetables. So while I am gonna show you the ingredients that I typically like to use, this video is more so about the technique and the process than the recipe itself. So let's get into it.
If you're new here, my name is Charlie, aka The Regular Chef, and my goal is to show you how to make delicious food using simple ingredients and techniques so that you can become a more confident home cook. So let's make some hash. The first thing we're gonna do is cut up the potatoes. Like I mentioned, this recipe is pretty versatile, so I'm using 1 pound of russet potatoes here, which I think is the most obvious choice, but really any sort of root vegetable would work. So you could use sweet potatoes, turnips, beets, etc., or any combination of those. In this case, I'm peeling the potatoes, but again, that's up to you, so you can definitely leave the skin on if you prefer. Then I'm just gonna dice them into about 1/2 inch to 1 inch cubes. I like them on the smaller side so they cook a bit faster and get nice and browned. The key to this recipe is all in the timing, so in order to make sure the potatoes are done at the same time as the rest of the ingredients, we'll need to first par cook them to give them a head start. And since this recipe is designed to be as quick and easy as possible, I'm going to show you a nice little way to do this in the microwave. So you'll just want to cover a large plate with a couple of damp paper towels, then throw your potatoes on top and cover them with another damp paper towel. Now throw that plate into the microwave for about 5 to 6 minutes until the potatoes are nice and soft on the insides. In the meantime, I like to prepare the rest of my ingredients, and in this case, I'm using a red onion and 3 cloves of garlic, along with a red bell pepper and a green bell pepper. But again, feel free to take some freedom here. You could use carrots, celery, broccoli, even Brussels sprouts. It's really all about using up whatever you have on hand. Since I'm using a 10-inch cast iron skillet for this recipe, these vegetables won't all fit, so I'm gonna end up with some leftover cut up veggies that I can just save in my fridge for my next batch. So first, I'm gonna mince up the garlic, but not too finely because we don't want it to burn in the pan. Then I'm gonna cut up my onion. I'm only using about half of it here, and I like to cut it into thin slices like so. And I like to cut the bell peppers into thin slices as well. So let me show you a little trick here to cut them up as quickly as possible. Start by slicing off the top and bottom parts of the pepper, then cut it open and lay it on its side. And from here, it's easy to slice out the white membrane by rolling the pepper along your cutting board as you run your knife across like so. Then you can just lay the pepper down on your cutting board and slice it however you like. Like I said, I like to cut it into thin slices like I did with the onion. And of course, you can still use the top and bottom portions, so make sure to cut those up as well. Now by the time that's all done, the potatoes should be ready. So at this point, they should break apart easily, but not quite be fully cooked on the inside. So go ahead and start heating up a heavy skillet over medium-high heat and add a few tablespoons of olive oil. I'm using a 10-inch cast iron skillet here, but you could easily use a 12-inch skillet to make a larger batch. At the same time, go ahead and preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 205 degrees Celsius. Once your pan is just barely smoking, add all of your potatoes along with a good pinch of salt and cook them, stirring or tossing occasionally until they pick up some good browning on a few sides. They don't need to be brown all over because they're going to stay in the pan and continue to cook. So once those are browned, just dig out a little well in the middle and add some more olive oil along with the garlic. This will allow the garlic to infuse some flavor into the oil, but the garlic can burn quickly, so make sure to stir it around right after you add it. Then throw in the rest of the veggies along with another big pinch of salt. I'm using all the onion that I cut up and then just as much of the bell pepper as I can fit. The ratio of veggies you use is really just up to your preferences. Anyways, just let everything cook down for a few minutes until the veggies are slightly softened, adding additional salt and pepper along the way as necessary. Then when they're almost done, I like to throw in a good amount of hot sauce, which will add some nice acidity and extra flavor. Then, if you like, dig out 3 or 4 wells and crack an egg into each one. Obviously, if you use a lot of veggies like I did, it's a little harder to make room for the eggs, but you get the idea. Then sprinkle the entire dish with some salt and pepper and immediately transfer it to your preheated oven. We're just using this oven method to make sure the egg whites set before the yolks dry out. So if you're not using eggs, you can just skip the oven part and finish cooking the hash on the stove. But assuming you are using eggs and you like your yolks as runny as possible like I do, just leave the pan in the oven for about 3 to 4 minutes until the whites are just barely set on top. Of course, you can leave it in for longer if you like your yolks less runny. So that's it for the baseline recipe. It's really super simple, but it's easy to upgrade by adding some extra herbs and spices, using different veggies, or even adding meat or cheese. Personally, I like to cook some bacon in my pan at the beginning, then use that rendered fat to cook the hash and add the bacon meat back at the end. So feel free to get creative with it. You can toss some cheese over top right before you throw it in the oven and it'll be melted nicely by the time you take it out. This recipe is just all about convenience and using up whatever you have on hand. It's become one of my favorite breakfasts just because it's so easy and quick, but still so delicious. Anyways, now that you know how to make some breakfast hash, if you want to learn some more quick breakfast recipes, be sure to click the playlist on the bottom right corner of the screen. So there you go. I'll see you all in the next one.